Hello and welcome to Now, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight at 5 o'clock. We told you yesterday there was another arrest in Sanford for that popular drug house. Today we'll follow up, let you know the reaction from the neighbors, and he was in court today. We'll tell you what happened there.
And big standoff last night, hours of searching today. They have finally made an arrest in the case of what happened at the Motel 6 yesterday.
And Susan Collins has announced that she will announce on Friday.
This is News Center Now.
The police bringing the same guy out, Josh, wearing the same red tank top and everything from the last time, and it was just like, wow, he did not learn at all.
A woman in Maine who has been leading the charge to take back her neighborhood from drug dealers watches as the same man gets arrested in the same spot as just a few weeks ago. We've been following this story in Sanford now for weeks. Thank you everybody for joining us live on the air and live on Facebook. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Amanda Hill. Police arrested 33-year-old Josh Norrad in mid-September and charged him with aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs within 1,000 feet of a school zone.
Now, a judge set his bail at $10,000, but according to police, that bail was later reduced to $1,000 with conditions. Norrad made bail, and then over the weekend, Sanford police checked up on him to see if he was complying with the conditions of his bail, and it turned out he was not. So he was arrested again, this time for violating his conditions of release, as well as possession of a controlled substance. All of this happened just outside the front door of Sanford resident Carrie Zelke, who has been outspoken about the drug issue in her family's neighborhood.
It was very frustrating to hear that the bail was so low given the charges and that he posted the bail. He was right back out. He was right back to dealing again at the same apartment in the school zone. They were able to get him again on the same charges. So clearly the system is broken, and we need to rethink the way that we have bail and drug laws.
Josh Norrad was arraigned today. The judge revoked his bail from the first arrest, so he is scheduled to remain in prison until at least December 7th, when he'll appear in Alfred Superior Court.
His charges from last weekend's arrest came with $5,000 cash bail and other conditions. We hear a lot about that, about the system being broken, and that's obviously something that a lot of people are talking about and trying to work forward on.
Well, and in speaking with the police chief of Sanford today, he said that, yes, it was frustrating that he was released on bail, but at least it was with conditions, which allowed the police to kind of check up on him every once in a while, like they did on Sunday, saw that he had violated, and back to jail he goes.
Right.
So.
Right. Yep, we will continue to follow this story.
All right, more news now, and Senator Susan Collins will announce on Friday whether or not she'll run for governor of Maine. That word came from Collins' office today. New Senator Pat Callahan sat down with Senator Collins in Washington last week. Voters first elected the moderate Republican in 1996. She has played a pivotal role in the Senate in recent debates about health care policy. Collins' office did not say where the senator will make that much anticipated announcement, but it will be happening on Friday. Reaction to that announcement is somewhat mixed on our Facebook page. David says that I hope she runs so far away I'll never have to hear her traitor voice again.
John says retire if she doesn't stop pretending to be Republican. And Charles says, oh my, I'll just hold my breath. Such breathtaking awesomeness. Scott
thinks Senator Collins should stay put. He says we need her in the Senate. We do want to hear from you on this, or if you're watching us live on Facebook, it's easy. Let's leave your thoughts in the comment section below.
All right, turning to the weather. It's another day that feels a lot more like summer than fall.
And another day where Keith has left us to go outside where it's beautiful. What's going on, Casey?
We got to do a role reversal here, right? Because I was attempting to be an anchor the other day. So at some point, probably during the winter, Amanda should attempt to be a weather reporter, but I want to wait for it to snow. I'll take these good, easy, beautiful shots myself. We're in the back cove. People like to run. I think it's jog through this area. And what a beautiful day. Another day spent in the mid and upper 70s, which is obviously well above average for this time of the year. it rolls on. Let's take a look at our current temperatures. Sitting at 75 in Portland, 72 in Rockland, 73 in Sanford. Waiting for the official strings to come in, but certainly a good possibility. We ended up at 76 or so in Portland and the surrounding communities. Dew points down. It was really humid yesterday, and same deal on Sunday. A lot of people didn't enjoy that aspect of it. That's done for a couple of days with humidity largely on the decrease on the northwest wind. Northwest winds are really bitterly cold during the winter. This time of the year, they're typically refreshing. Dew points drop, temperatures drop, and we did have those gusty winds earlier today. They're starting to settle now around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Visible sat looking good. There will be some clouds moving in into the mountains tonight, maybe an isolated sprinkle there. Now tomorrow we're going to be watching this system that's back across parts of Ohio and into Illinois as well. That's going to slide just to our south, but as it does so, we will see some of the cloud cover move in. So I think the southern half of the state is relatively cloudy through the day tomorrow, and you can see it on this hour-by-hour forecast. After starting off with a clear night, we end up with some clouds from basically Brunswick and Rockland down south over to Bethel and Berlin as well. To the north of that, it's mostly sunny, so a split state forecast in there. Temperatures much more seasonable for this time of the year, around 60 to 65 degrees. That will be a theme for a while, guys. Temperatures finally back towards average, although I will say I'm not writing off summer yet. Feeling is that there could be some 70s again for the weekend. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Guys?
Sounds good to me. All right. Thank you very much, sir. So we go from one coast to kind of the other part of the coast because people down east are still doing their part to help victims of a recent hurricane.
Now, Tennyson Coleman is live in Jonesboro, where folks have dropped off supplies headed to Florida. Tennyson?
Hey, how's it going, guys? FEMA has been given billions of dollars to help out with hurricane relief, but with all of the recent disasters, folks here still think there is more that can be done. This year, hurricanes have ravaged parts of Florida, Texas, and the island of Puerto Rico.
I've seen pictures on the internet, and it's devastating.
5 weeks ago, Joseph West of Jonesport felt moved to help victims of Hurricane Irma.
Time to give back a little.
He created this Facebook page called Hurricane Irma Relief and Recovery. And so far, hundreds in the Down East and Mid-Coast area have joined.
Me and another person, a few other people from the Mid-Coast and Down East here have organized a relief truck headed from Jonesport to Tampa, Florida, with a couple other locations down there as well.
This truck in Jonesboro is just one location where folks are storing supplies before they're shipped down to Florida later this month. People down east are encouraged to take canned goods, clothes, and toiletries to this location, the Baez Company in Jonesboro along Route 1, as well as the Elks Lodge in Ellsworth and the American Legion Post 65 in Lubec. West hopes to have the truck packed and ready to go by October 26th and says there is still plenty of time to donate. He'll be one of the truck drivers and plans on spending some time with Hurricane Irma victims once he arrives in Florida.
There's just so much, FEMA can do about it. A small town like Jonesport, I'm a self-employed person, it's just I have enough time to do this and, make a difference.
All right, and there is plenty of room here in this trailer, let me tell you, if you want to drop off some donations here in Jonesboro. Joseph West says he was inspired by someone's story in Florida on Facebook, and that is kind of how this relief effort got started. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Tennyson. Really great to see people just coming together and really showing, the main connection here.
Well, and it seems like Florida was a while ago now because there have been so many since, but still, people contributing, and we haven't forgotten about that, and that's huge. So.
Yeah, that's great. All right, more news now. State police have arrested a man from Hollis after an alleged domestic violence incident in York. Investigators thought Vincent Terrell was at the Motel 6 in Portland last night, and they surrounded the building. Turns out he was not there. Portland police arrested Terrell today after searching for him.
Convicted murderer Anthony Sanborn was back in court today fighting for his freedom. Sanborn was convicted in 1992 of the brutal murder of teenager Jessica Briggs. He was sentenced to serve 70 years in state prison. In April, he became the first convicted murderer in our state's history to be released on bail. That happened when the state's key witness, Hope Cady, recanted her testimony, telling a judge she did not see Sanborn stab Briggs.
Investigators are looking into the cause of a deadly fire in Elliott. The flames started early this morning in a garage and spread to a home. Investigators believe 83-year-old Beverly Weber is the victim. Her son got out of the home but went back in to look for his mother. The smoke became too much for him and he jumped out of a second-floor window. Paramedics took him to Portsmouth Regional Hospital where he is recovering.
All right, at the top of our news tonight, we told you about that second arrest in Sanford. Same guy, same place, about a month apart. Well, the husband and wife in Sanford say that man's second arrest is an example of just how necessary that recovery programs are. Rob and Jess Libby are opening up a new recovery center in Sanford. It is the third of its kind just in that city.
Chris Costa shows us why they say it's necessary and how their own struggles with substance use led them to help others.
The New Beginnings Church in Sanford is getting a facelift. Pastor Rob Libby and his father are putting down new flooring, while his wife Jess helps stock shelves. It's about to open, in part, as a recovery center for people struggling with substance use.
Recovery has given me all the things that substances promised.
Jess has been in recovery for 3.5 years.
I always said I will never do heroin.
But she did, and her struggle got worse.
My habit was ranging from $150 to $300 a day.
She did not become clean and sober overnight.
I still lived in the area that I used in. Every time I left the house, everything was a trigger for me.
Her husband, Rob, a Marine, broke his back after an IED exploded while he was serving in Iraq. His struggle with pain pills led him to his new job as the Maine state representative for the faith-based organization Celebrate Recovery.
I think one of the biggest struggles a lot of people have is they don't have support, from their families and friends. They're looked down upon negatively, and then the other is just that a lot of them don't have the financial means. If it just saves one person's life, it's all worth it.
Both Jess and Rob say that constant support is necessary for success. Sanford Police Chief Thomas Connolly says a person must also want to stop using.
Because if you don't have that, then you're wasting your time. And then number two, you have to have readily available in the community evidence-based treatment. If you don't have both things present, then the system can't work.
As Rob and Jess put on the finishing touches, they have a reminder of why they're doing this. In the sanctuary, 2 plants dedicated to a friend they lost just 1 month ago to an overdose.
It was the phone call I dreaded for, years before. I opened my eyes to my own family and what I had put them through as well. It could have been them receiving that phone call.
In Sanford, Chris Costa, News Center.
There are 22 Celebrate Recovery centers across the state, including 2 programs in the state's correctional facilities in Wiscasset and in Windham.
All right, when you were in middle school, would you have traded playing in the band for a computer science class?
One woman made that choice and says it made all the difference in her career.
I've always been fascinated with how do things work.
She's now part of a group working on food safety. We will share her story coming up on Now.
There's a high demand for jobs in one developing field. Blockchain is a secure new technology.
Now, as Kate Rogers shows us, it's enticing world-leading companies including Walmart and IBM.
In middle school, Eileen Lowry swapped band for a computer science class and hasn't looked back.
I've always been fascinated with how do things work.
Today, Lowry runs one of IBM's North American blockchain programs.
Every day I'm talking to clients, working with them on building their blockchain applications and figuring out what good use cases exist for them in their industry.
Blockchain is a record of transactions, a transparent and tamper-proof digital ledger that allows users to share information quickly, freely, and without fear that it could be altered without users detecting it.
It's really the second wave of technology innovation since the time of the internet. It's addressing a lot of issues that robotics cannot address today. primarily because blockchain is addressing the underlying data that is used in our processes.
Blockchain makes that data permanent and immutable, increasing the level of confidence and reducing costs. Companies across a wide range of industries, from financial services to logistics, retail, and more, are betting big on the future of blockchain, and IBM is among the leaders.
When you think of making the complex very simple, that's what we look to do in both technology and business.
They're currently working with some of the leading food suppliers like Walmart to help address food safety challenges.
It's still a complex network getting, let's say, a mango from the farm to the fork. There's lots of exchanges in there. And right now, that causes lots of challenges and trouble with regards to that food safety.
IBM employs more than 1,500 people to help clients build blockchain-based solutions, and as its business grows, the company is looking to hire additional talent.
What we look for are people who are ready to move quickly, think creatively, and be very close to our clients.
IBM also considers new-collar workers, people without a 4-year degree in IT, as well as veterans.
That was Kate Rogers reporting. After a gloomy Monday, the sun came out today.
When will it begin to feel like fall again? Kate's forecast still to come on Now. All right, it's really nice out, so clearly Mother Nature just looking for another excuse to put Keith Carson outside in a t-shirt, in a tight t-shirt.
Yeah, because he needs an excuse.
Right.
This is... You know, guys, this is a very nice polo shirt that I paid at least $15 to $17 for. But yeah, look, I mean, mid-70s, I'm not wearing a sweater, that's for sure. It is beautiful out here in the Back Cove. You know, a lot of people, I've noticed this area, this trail here, people will run in all kinds of weather, but the volume certainly increases as the weather is nicer. Fair weather running, which I can relate to totally. Beautiful day today, another day spent about 15 degrees above average. 75 in Portland officially, 76 in Sanford. Remember, average highs are 60, 61, 75 was the high in Bangor as well. Dew points down, people were complaining about that, and rightly so. Very tropical air mass Sunday and Monday with those tropical downpours that we saw Monday as well. So now dew points are going down on a northwest flow. It's going to be a pretty nice night, not much in the way of cloud cover showing up here. Our next system is off to the west. You can see the showers in the Ohio Valley. That will largely go to our south, but it will come close enough tomorrow to give us some additional cloud cover over the southern half of the state. It's kind of a battleground between the dry air and the more moist air with those clouds. So I do think we'll see more clouds tomorrow. We should, though, erode that cloud cover on Thursday, and Friday looks absolutely spectacular. All the while, temperatures down now, suppressed to our averages between 60 and 65 degrees, which will feel really crisp after the pattern that we've been in for the last couple of weeks. Hour by hour forecast, we don't drop that much tonight. Most of us stay in the 50s, just some isolated 40s around. Tomorrow you can see those clouds over the southern half to third of the state. Not a bad day, but I do think we'll see some of that cloudiness around, and that will keep temperatures down a bit. Temperatures drop more overnight tomorrow night, and then on Thursday, a good looking day, but we struggle to get to 50 even with a bunch of sunshine. So that's really where we typically would be this time of the year with the sun angle. But it ain't over yet, guys. Saturday, Sunday, and maybe into Monday, I see 70 to 75 degrees with increasing humidity. Unfortunately, those days won't be absolutely beautiful. I do think we'll see isolated showers on Saturday. And on Sunday, there's going to be a warm front somewhere in the state. Pinpointing that, obviously, at this juncture, a little too early. But I do think there'll be a huge temperature contrast, or as I put on the 7-day there, a huge swing on Sunday. Some of us could be 77, 78 degrees, and the northern part of Maine could be somewhere closer to 40 something. So I think there will be a huge swing somewhere on Sunday between the haves or have-nots, depending on how you look at it. But guys, it's amazing to me that we're now going to roll squarely into the middle of October with several more days in the mid-70s that I can see in the future.
That is pretty amazing. It's kind of like someplace else.
No. Not Maine Diego. No.
There it is, Maine Diego. Okay, and you should say it. Coming up in the next half hour, News Center at 5:30. Much more about that statewide manhunt that came to an end today. State police have been looking for Vincent Tarul after he checked into a motel in Portland yesterday As we told you, officers have arrested him. Don Kerrigan will have the latest.
Plus, did you know the ride-sharing service Uber offers vehicle financing for drivers? You'll meet a driver who took advantage of that. Why he wishes he had read the fine print before signing on the dotted line. Those stories coming up on News Center at 5:30.
And we'll be right back with some brain drops, so stay with us on Now.
All right, it's week 7 of the high school football season. We have a winner.
They haven't played yet. Oh, right, a hometown showdown winner. That's what you meant. With 68% of the vote, our 5th quarter team will head to Wells for a Class D battle. The Warriors will host the Greyhounds out of Lisbon. We will have stories from both schools, plus course highlights, coming up Friday night on the 5th quarter. It's going to be cool on Friday, too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Feel like football weather.
Yes. Right, Keith?
Right, yeah. It's going to be actually fall-like. What a novel concept by the time they play on Friday. Okay, today's Brain Drops is, I thought I'd take a break. I was really hitting you with some hard nerd last week. So check this out. This is pretty interesting. In Australia, they've developed, on the research level at least, this polymer glue that they can use to fuse together big wounds. Now there's something similar that surgeons are using at the moment, but the main difference here is that this is going to be able to be used by first responders. So the idea here is it's basically a super glue for big wounds and also internal injuries. That's what shows so much promise here, is they've been able to use it on rats and other experimental animals, where they would basically take and slice a bit of the lung and be able to use this glue relatively long term to cauterize that wound and to close it. So the advantages of this versus kind of what's being used right now by surgeons is that it is a much longer lasting and stronger bond. And the other thing they really liked about it, at least as they've been experimenting, is as it's decaying, it is not giving off any toxicity. And that had been a problem in some other types of glue like this. So this is something that has a ton of potential going forward. Now right now, of course, it is not being used in the United States, but they are working with Harvard, actually, just down the road, if you will, from Maine, to start to work on trials for this and see what the applications can be for humans. Obviously, it holds a lot of promise on that level. So they'll try it out on people. The advantage they have, as opposed to some other kind of FDA things, is there's a more obvious cause and effect when they try it out, whether or not it works correctly, and they don't worry about side effects quite as much. So Amanda and Lee, you guys are both quite in tune with police and first responders. You could see the value in being able to quickly kind of cauterize a wound on the spot and at least get somebody to a hospital.
Sure, and that's, I mean, I think that's, I've seen that at local hospitals and, you know, quick care places where they'll use the glue versus the stitches or something like that, and it's for a lot less invasive, less painful on the patient, and it seems to seal things up. And so if they could make that broader, then even better. So.
That could be super helpful.
Absolutely.
All right, very interesting.
Yep.
All right, that's our show. Thanks so much for joining us.
News Center at 5:30 begins right now.